Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. I hope everybody is doing okay. One Virginia dude here again from the beautiful area in the foothills of the Shenandoah Valley. Actually, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Shenandoah Valley is west of here, but nevertheless, it's all over the news about Donald Trump's executive order. Now, he gave a speech yesterday, and on the radio, well, on TV too, he said that if you burn the American flag, it's going to mean 1 year in jail. Well, obviously, he can't do that. It's unconstitutional. That there have been court cases about that before, and the First Amendment doesn't allow Congress to abridge freedom of speech like that, which doesn't allow the president to do it either. But anyway, is he just trolling? Because the text of the executive order says something along the lines of you can't burn the flag with the intention of inciting a riot. Well, that's pretty broad. What's the criteria of that? But nevertheless, a couple things came to mind. I thought, well, maybe he's just trolling the Democrats. Maybe this is going to be a time when you're going to see Democrats out there burning flags just to spite Trump. And most Americans, your average American person, does not like flag burning. And that could turn the momentum against the Democrats in the midterms. It's hard to say. Nobody knows for sure. But I'm a peacetime Army Reserve veteran. I'm very patriotic. I fly a flag out in front of my house every day, 24/7. And yes, it is illuminated at night, as you're supposed to do with the flag. But it got me thinking about a couple things, okay? If what would I do if I saw somebody burning a flag? Would I be offended? Heck yes. Would I be upset about it? Yes. Would I be angry? Oh, definitely. But you know what? The veteran side of me would have to say, wait a minute, that flag stands for the freedom for somebody to do that. So as much as I would hate to do it, I would have to defend somebody burning an American flag. If you tried to hurt that person, I would say, hey, he's got the right to do it. I don't like it, but part of living in a free society means that sometimes we have to put up with other people doing things that we don't like, things we might find offensive, distasteful, or icky. Of course, they're supposed to extend the same courtesy to us. Yeah, right. But you know, I would have to say, okay, it's their right. But I would want to ask that person. Of course, everybody's going to be screaming and yelling, and nobody's going to be of right mind. But I'd want to say, listen here, Mister Hippie. Um, if you really, really, I agree with your right to do this. But if you really hate the country that bad, why are you here? Why don't you move somewhere with a style of governance that is more to your liking? There are plenty of other countries in the world. I'm sure he could find some place that would, you know, offer the tyranny that he probably wants. A lot of people will say that, oh, I believe in free speech. Do they? Or do they only believe in free speech if it's something where you say something they agree with? But yeah, I don't want to go off too much on a tangent on that. But um, if you burn the American flag, and let's say it's your flag, you bought the flag, you didn't take it from anybody, which would be larceny, that's a separate crime. But if it's your flag and you're not on somebody else's property, I really don't see a problem with it. Now, in some areas, you would violate an arson ordinance or outdoor burning ordinance, but that's not specific to a flag. That could be for anything because some areas there is a very, very highly elevated risk of a forest fire. There are some states out west, if you chuck a lit cigarette butt out of your car, they'll put you in jail for it. They take it pretty seriously because of forest fires. Um, so another thing that comes to mind, okay, so if the Supreme Court says that you can burn the American flag and it's free speech, what about a pride flag? What about a Black Lives Matter flag? What about a Palestinian flag, a Hamas flag? What about an Israeli flag? Okay. There are probably people who will say that you can burn an American flag, but if you burn an Israeli flag in the United States, that somehow that's a hate crime. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you think it's okay to burn Old Glory, then you should be able to burn the UN flag, the BLM flag, the rainbow flag, the pride flag, the Israeli, the Palestinian flag, the jihad flag, the Al Qaeda flag, the French flag if you want. So, it's hard for people to remain consistent, but when you have these kind of issues, it's probably a good idea to do that. But I don't I don't understand why Trump said something differently about the executive order than what it has in the text of it. And I think some of the media could have been a little more diligent with their reporting to point that out. Because if you go on Facebook or you go on Yahoo or Quora, you see all these people saying stuff like, well, Trump just made it illegal to burn the flag. And it's like, well, no, not really. But he did say that he wanted people to serve a year in prison if they burned the flag, but that's not what his executive order says. And in the language about inciting a riot, well, isn't that pretty vague? Couldn't you argue that burning the American flag is tantamount to inciting a riot? Um, you know, I have an old Ford pickup truck. What if I took a rebel flag and drove through the housing projects in a city? Would I have First Amendment right to do that and not face arrest by the police? Probably. Does that mean that I should do it or that it would be a wise course of action? No, of course not. So people also need to realize just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Could I take an AR-15 and go walking through? Could I walk downtown in most towns in my state? Yeah, I believe so. I have a concealed carry permit, so I believe that you can possess a rifle with more than 20 rounds if you have a concealed carry permit, which is kind of silly because why do you need a concealed carry permit to carry a rifle? You're not concealing it. I don't know. Ask the General Assembly. They make these laws. But does that mean it would be a wise idea in an urban environment? No, absolutely not. But that's something that Americans need to understand. Just because you can do something, it doesn't always mean that you should. But as for Trump, maybe he's trolling. I don't know. But that's it. I got another video I'm going to make on a different topic in a couple minutes. Take care, everybody, and have a good day. And just remember, how many other countries in the world can you go and burn their flag in public? Probably not very many.